Can you hear me?
No, it's still yeah. She's been through a week, so
These microphones on yet? Hello, hello, hello.
top look. Someone that we see, but what?
First of all, thanks everyone.
I'm back.
So first, thanks everyone for coming. Mayor Spencer is on her way, so she'll be here shortly. But just to introduce myself, my name is Julian Nix. I'm Deputy Chief Operating Officer for the city and Operations Chief for the tornado response on behalf of the city. And so first, we just want to say thank you all. I'm speaking into the mic. It just ain't that loud. I can talk louder than this microphone. Yeah. Can we get these turned up?
10. Yes.
How's it sound?
They were.
I don't know if he. I'll step away from the mic while we get the mics up and running. But Julie Nix, Deputy Chief Operating Officer for the city and Operations Chief of Tornado Response. Just want to first say thank you all so much for coming out. Mayor Spencer is on our way. She's running late from her previous meeting. But we're excited to have a chance to chat with you all about our ongoing efforts within the city. Is that better? Okay. So we're excited to begin the conversations. But actually, I saw Mayor Spencer in the back, so she'll be walking in here shortly. Well, without further ado, Mayor Spencer.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. For the record, I don't often bite, and there are a bunch of seats up here, unless they are reserved. Why are they reserved? Who we got these? Come on up. Anybody want to come sit up here? We've got plenty of space. There's a couple of seats in here. We're going to be here all night long till tomorrow morning. We're not leaving. And so you better get comfortable. Okay? It's going to be a long night. I'm just kidding, but I am here to answer questions. I want to give a front end to this. I want to first thank Herbert Hoover, Boys and Girls Club, for hosting us, and of course, Alderwoman Laura Keys and Alderwoman Sharon Tyus. Is Alderwoman Tyus in the room? For hosting us here tonight, who represent Wards 11 and 12, and all of our city staff. If you're with the city of St. Louis, raise your hand. Oh my God, do we got anybody who's not? No, with the staff, in our staff. I was gonna say, I don't recognize you. Okay. Who works for the city? All right, we got a bunch of people who work for the city here. Many of our city department heads are here. The folks who are driving the response. We've also got folks from FEMA. Where's my FEMA at? Mr. Willie Nunn, our director, and we've got members of the SBA, Small Business Association, who are also here tonight. It has been 46 days since the May 16th tornado. I want to thank all of the folks who is with an organization that's been out helping. I see the American Red Cross and a lot of other folks who've been on the grounds. Thank you. We know we couldn't have done the work that has been done without you. There are a lot of organizations that have been on the ground since day one. I also want to, of course, thank our first responders from across the St. Louis region who came in to help, who've been helping to keep our community safe since then. I thought I want to spend a lot of time answering questions tonight, but I thought it would be helpful on the front end of this to offer a timeline of the set of events that took place, what the city and our partners have been able to do. And we've got some other representatives. Representative Kimberly Ann Collins is in the room. Do we have any other electeds in this space that I failed to recognize on the front end before we get going? Okay. Thank you for being here. Your work at the state level has been incredibly important and very, very valuable. In the first few days, I'll just kind of level set us what has taken place, what we've been able to do, what we are planning to do moving forward, and then we'll get into questions, okay? In the first few days, we really focused on the response, getting the emergency responders out into community to make sure that we were checking, to make sure that we were saving lives where we could, providing medical assistance. We did have several folks that were injured and several folks whose lives were saved in the first few hours and certainly the first few days. We searched 2,500 buildings. We put in a curfew. We are actually in the process of lifting that right now, but we did put that curfew in place to try to make sure that we had the safety measures in place to help keep our community safe. We did prioritize getting all streets to be passable. We also added the alleys to that so we could get emergency vehicles through that. We also had a priority of getting Ameren within our community to remove the downed electrical lines. There were blocks and blocks that had downed live wires. You may remember I called for folks to not self-deploy. That was in an effort to make sure that folks were not encountering the many, many, many downed electrical wires in those first hours, that first day after the response. And we're really grateful that those were able to put back online pretty within a few days. We were focusing on getting the federal partners, FEMA, here. FEMA is now here, embedded within our community. We're very grateful that took a partnership with our state and federal elected officials. And we've also partnered with our state legislators, like Representative Kimberly Ann Collins, our state reps, and our state senators, and our Governor Mike Kehoe, signed our emergency declaration so that we can have state funding. We have secured through a vote of the state legislature and signed off by the governor 2 measures, $25 million in state funding that's focused on and underinsured, and $100 million direct aid to St. Louis for the tornado response. Both those funds are important pots of money. None of those dollars have been spent yet. The $25 million is coming through Missouri to MHDC, which will go through community organizations to support the and underinsured property owners as a priority. We do not have the applications in, but once they are in, it's important to apply immediately, very, very quickly. Those funds are limited and they are statewide, but while they're statewide, many of the other parts of our state that have been impacted by disasters have already applied for other pots of money, okay? So we want to make sure that you all, anybody impacted by the tornado, is plugged in so you will know immediately when those types of funds become available. On the $100 million that are coming to the city, we are working with the Department of Public Safety at the state level to figure out how those funds will be dispersed. We don't know the answers yet, but we will keep you informed as soon as we get more information. And that's why plugging in and being really tuned in to our website, to events like this, to our disaster recovery centers is going to be important to be informed on those processes moving forward. Okay, that's what we were doing on the first 2 weeks. The first month, we did work with partners. Many of you saw we were distributing meals. The city wasn't doing that directly, but we were supporting the organizations that were doing that. 285,000 meals were distributed that first month. We did work with community partners, including the AIA, the architects, and the region to help us evaluate over 7,000 buildings that gave us the tools to make those assessments on those first 7,000 buildings. And we removed nearly 7 million cubic feet of debris. That's an enormous amount of debris that was led up by the city Department of Forestry, our city workers, our Parks Department. We also deployed emergency contracts to some of our partners that do debris removal. And we had some of the largest contractors in the region doubling our efforts with 25 front, 25 back loaders for 2 full weeks to help us scoop that off. We know this is just the beginning, and we have a tons of debris still left to remove. We are committed to getting that out of our communities. It is a little bit complicated because we want to make sure we're going along through FEMA regulations, and we have contractors in place for the long haul who will continue to do that effort until all of the debris in our community is removed. It's not been an easy process, and now that the emergency contract or those volunteer contractors have sunsetted their volunteer efforts, we are working on making sure that we are doing that. We know it's not as fast as everyone would like, but I want to assure you we are committed to removing the debris from the community. Okay. Again, within that first month, we, in collaboration, we were able to get that direct aid assistance, the FEMA direct aid, and Willie Nunn, you've already raised your hand. He's our director here on the ground. Thank you for being here. We know that it was frustrating to wait as long as we did. This was not Mr. Nunn's fault. Okay, the FEMA partners that we have on the ground here have been phenomenal partners. They are working within a system that is changing on a daily basis. That is not Mr. Nunn's fault. It is not the fault of the folks that are here. In fact, they have been helping us navigate that as well as we can. So we do not want their delay in getting here to impact anyone's decision to apply for FEMA. If you've got a denial letter, we know many people do. We call that a first round. Okay, because we want you to apply again and again and again. And if you need help doing that, that is exactly what our FEMA folks on the ground are here to help you do. Okay. As of today, they have helped in the 3 weeks they've been here over 4,000 households. That's not residents, that's households. And that's how many folks households have received payments as of today. $20 million so far has gone out the door from FEMA direct to residents, okay? And that's the beginning. We have until August 11th to get those applications done and approved, so we are continuing that effort. There is more to come. We want you to apply. Even if you think you don't qualify, it's helping us quantify the need that's met and the need that's not met. It's truly helping us evaluate all that's going on in the community that we need to get done. If you get a rejection letter, again, we want you to go to one of our 3 DRCs. You remember on the front end of this, we had one big disaster assistance center over at the Chaffetz Arena. We have sunsetted that. That was a great partner, but now we have 3 disaster assistance recovery centers within the tornado zone that are open every day during the week, and they are staffed with FEMA and other assistants that can help you wade through that. Today, we launched 4 new programs that the city is offering, okay? That was launched today. The first one is a program that that reconnects households that have been disconnected from the Ameren grid because your electrical box had damage, or you have damage to your system. We know that is well over $1,000 per household to get fixed. It was a need that's been coming in through our Citizen Service Bureau request, and it's a big financial barrier. We have partnered with Guarantee Electric and Saks to provide that service for free. Okay, that launched today. The assessments have already started. And so if you have, if you have put in a request for that through CSB or through 211, you're already on a list. If you're not sure if you're already on a list, apply again. Okay, your address will not be duplicated. It will go through. Within a few days, you should get contacted by the program, and somebody will go evaluate your house within 3 days to see and get that work going. These are licensed, contracted electricians who will do the work at no cost to homeowners. Okay, so if you need to be restored and your electrical system has been damaged, this is a free program that we just launched today. One of the other programs that we launched today, Ask an Architect. And we have a member of the American Institute of Architects here with us tonight. Our architect community is offering free services to help you evaluate plans. You can ask questions. If you don't know where to be, if you don't know if the work you need to have done to your house is something you could do yourself, we have seats up front. Come on up. By the way, we have a ton of seats up front. We encourage you. This is at City Hall. The Ask an Architect program is free. Go check it out. City Hall, the building division, and we're going to try to have. We're going to see how that goes and see if we can try to expand that if necessary. Okay, that's one of the 2 programs that we launched today. Third program, contractor registry. We know, and we are worried as well about fraudulent contractors. Our effort to try to stem this is the contractor registry. We've already had, I think, close to 100 contractors sign up for the registry. This is on our city website. It allows you to take a look and see if the contractor has a business license, insurance, and relevant trade certifications. If you are a contractor and you want to be in the registry, please go in and sign up. It does require your license, your trade certifications, and your insurance. Okay, but we can't encourage you strongly enough. Please go and check out the list. If you're thinking about hiring somebody, if you're thinking about paying somebody a lot of money to do repair work on your property, please make sure that they have some credentials. And if you feel like you're getting taken advantage of, please, before you pay anybody to do any work, please take a look at that. The last program that we launched today is Emergency Stabilization. This is a free program that's going to give immediate weatherization and stabilization grant money to prevent further damage, including roof tarping, boarding, etc. But this is done on a professional contractor basis, and it is free. Okay, and if you've applied for that or have sent in a request for that, you should always already be on a list. But if you're unsure if you're on a list, get on the list again. Okay, you can do that through calling our Citizen Service Bureau. We've made it easier. You can just dial 311. Okay, and you can sign up for those programs. What else are we doing? Again, we're committed to removing the debris from our community. We have posted a request for a proposal for more contractors to do that long-term debris removal. The RFP is already out, and so once that closes, we'll have some longer-term contractors helping the city services on that front. That demolition, we've been asked a lot about demolition and debris removal. I did talk about it a little bit, making sure that we're FEMA compliant, but the other piece is having a long-term debris removal plan. We are working with the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA to make sure that we are doing that in a way that not only positions us to be reimbursed by FEMA, but is also as safe as possible for the community. We want to make sure that when we're taking properties down, that there's contamination sometimes in these older buildings, asbestos, lead, all sorts of things. The dust, especially in summer months, can be very, very harmful. So we have air monitors in place throughout the community. We're taking that very seriously. We're watching that. We have guidance from Dr. Garza. You may remember him from the COVID pandemic, who guided and provided much needed guidance to the city on how to protect our community with PPE and other things. He has also been engaged for the tornado response to make sure that we are following best practices, and we have local partners who are helping us make those decisions on the health front. We are also working, so I just want to pull back. So on the demolition, a lot of questions we get are you taking buildings down?
Okay.
If you own a property and you're worried about us taking your building down, we are not taking properties down that don't fit a couple of key descriptions. Unless it was vacant and condemned before the tornado. We're not taking down properties that weren't vacant and condemned before the tornado, with a few exceptions. The one exception is if a property has fallen on an adjacent property that is occupied. We know of about 24 of those instances. And in an effort to protect the folks living in the property adjacent, we are working on a plan. We are working on contacting the owners of all of those buildings that have fallen on adjacent properties to take those down to save the adjacent properties. Number two, what we're calling compassionate demo. We're taking in applications for folks whose homes that they lived in were so badly damaged that there is no repair, and they are asking for assistance in taking it down to reduce their own liability. And we are making considerations for those, but those are the only two possibilities right now for demolition for properties that were not both vacant and condemned before the tornado. Okay, so that's going to take us some time to get through that log. We do have around $9 million, at 10, depending on how you kind of count it, 10, 11 total for that effort. Once we get through that, we're going to start a phase 2 on the demolition and debris removal, but that's not going to be in the immediate future. We're going to need some time to handle that first wave of demo. So I want to calm any fears about anybody's property, and we're not going to do any property that was lived in anytime soon or without communicating with the property owner. Okay. All right. We're also working on distributing some of the RAMS funds. The Board of Aldermen allocated $30 million of the RAMS funds to the tornado effort. Our first priority is some humanitarian funds for helping people stay cool during these hot summer months. We know that there's additional people experiencing homelessness. We also know that people with homes that don't have roofs or missing walls or missing windows, it is impossible to keep those dwellings cold or cool. So we are working on some efforts to make sure we have cooling to our community. Number two, supporting some of the organizations that have been boots on the ground supporting community. We want to make sure that they have the tools to make payroll and to continue some of those boots on the ground efforts as we move forward. And thirdly, some staffing to make sure that we have some capacity to do direct to community outreach so that you all know about those programs when the state funds come online. So we are keeping you in communication throughout the recovery phase. So those are our three buckets on the first wave of the RAMS funds, and we're going to come back and work out a program to do some additional, some more extensive home repair. Okay, so we can start to get some funds out there to home repair beyond the program that we launched today. Long term, we're also working on getting rid of some barriers to rebuilding your homes. We know that there's a backlog at the Board of Adjustment and other things. We have an RFP out that went out last week to help us do additional plan review. This will help us make sure we're expediting the process of getting any building permits that you may need faster through the process. We know that was a backlog before the tornado. It's been a backlog for years. It was on my agenda as your new mayor to try to address. We're trying to make that process go even faster. Okay, so we do have an RFP so for additional plan reviewers right now. And once that closes, we'll be able to get some of those folks on board to do some of that work. We're also doing some consideration on reducing minimum lot sizes and approving accessory dwellings. That's a process, but we want you to know we've been hearing about tiny homes, camper homes, non-traditional homes, and that sort of thing, making some waivers in the tornado zone. We'll have some more information and concrete plans on that next week and the coming weeks, but we want you to know we are working through the legal challenges and ways in which we can start to do that work because it's important. We want everyone, and the reason why we want to be accommodating of some of those non-traditional housing units, whether it's a camper or a tiny home or something like that, an accessory dwelling, is because we want everybody in the impacted area who can stay in St. Louis to stay in St. Louis. If you got to be grounded in a camper for a little while, that's okay. If you got to be grounded in something makeshift, we want that to be okay so that you can be committed. You don't have to be displaced. You can be committed to St. Louis for the long haul. I have said this at every town hall. I'm a newly elected mayor. I want my tenure as mayor to my grade at the end of my term to be graded on how many people we can keep here through the tornado. We want to keep all of our residents here. And so if there's things that are falling through the cracks that you recognize we need to do to keep you here, let us know. Okay, we need to know. And that's where coming in, tuning in 311 through Citizen Service Bureau, et cetera, are very, very, very helpful. And that's where doing some of that community outreach is going to be helpful to kind of drive that for us. Okay, again, I can't stress enough. If you haven't signed up for FEMA, please do it. We've got the 3 spots. We should have flyers. Did we not hand out flyers? Okay. The 3 spots are Union Tabernacle on Newstead, Urban League, Entrepreneur and Womenship Business Center, that's on Natural Bridge, and Sumner High School. So those are the 3 hubs within community where we're going to have resources for the coming weeks, okay? And if you need more details on any of the things that I outlined today, we have stlrecovers.com. That's our hub of information. That's where you can go to apply. That's where you can find the contractor database, all sorts of stuff. Who's ready for me to answer questions? Okay. All right, I'll start with you. Okay. And actually, you know what? Do we want to have a process for asking questions with the mic? Do we want to do this?
Yeah, no.
We're gonna put it.
Line up at the microphone.
Do we have do you want to do it on the side because we got the camera lane here? Does that work? Okay.
Folks out there.
Yes.
Got it. Hey,
Oh, I'm sorry.
this is that's important work. Hey, like 2 lines.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do. Let's go in that.
We'll also do a line over here as well.
I know if I ever. I'll do it. I know that.
Okay, oh,
Have some more seats up front.
It's right there.
Make one.
Yeah, I saw it. Good try.
We got 4 stage. Sure. No longer like this.
Yes, you caught that.
Oh, we got it. Okay. Okay. First question.
okay. It's a statement and a question all wrapped up. So I didn't applaud when you came in, and I didn't applaud because I will not applaud mediocrity. When it came to our community, St. Louis City was slow, if not show, and did not show up for us until way later. The one department that did show up for us almost immediately was the sheriff's department.
How about that?
They came. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. I called 911. That lady told me I was SOL. Everybody had an emergency. My gas line was severed. It was spewing gas for more than 45 minutes before Spire could come to turn it off. The sheriff's department showed up out of nowhere. They weren't dispatched. They came. They made sure we had water. They made sure people got out of their homes who were trapped in their homes. And they didn't do this just immediately after the tornado. They continued to do this. They were the first people from the city that we saw. With that being said, they taken the hardest hit. And I'm going to say, from what I see, a personal difference of opinion. Whatever the personal issues are, number one, they should be handled personally. When it comes to the business, we are the ones that matter. Because we were the ones who didn't know what we were going to do because a tornado was on top of our head with no sirens. Bricks were falling, gas was spewing, and we had nobody we could call because 911 told us we were SOL when we finally got through. Now, with that being said, the attack on the sheriff's office has got to stop. Those of us who were positively affected by that are going to stand behind the sheriff. The people at I went and thanked the sheriff's department personally downtown, and the sheriff, the people who, the sheriff deputies are excited about the change in the sheriff's office. The one that we had prior was horrible. He didn't respond, he was rude, and he didn't do any of the things that this new sheriff is gonna try to do. That also leads me to say that you stood in your very first news conference. You had Carla May as senator. You had Steve Roberts as senator. You thanked the governor. You thanked everybody else, but you did not thank those 2 senators whose wards were affected.
Listen.
Senator Carla May and Senator Steve Roberts. They had a big district that was affected by this tornado. With all of that being said, we cannot pick and choose, and we are not going to allow you to run to Jefferson City to those people who have taken our rights away. We vote on something, we vote on someone, and then when it doesn't go for a personal issue,
Okay, I do.
we
wanna-
bring them down here, and then they tell us our vote doesn't matter. We're not going to keep doing that.
Well,
And
so
this
I
is
do-
all in tornado response.
Okay, I just want to be respectful. We have a whole lot of questions. I want to thank you. You've brought these issues to City Hall to me, and I heard you there as well. Thank you. For
And
that.
there's nothing been done.
Okay. I want to say, I think, I'm grateful the sheriff has been there for you. I also want to just note, it's very important. One of the key duties that the sheriff needs to be doing is transporting those in medical, that need medical care from our jail facility to hospital. That is my priority right now. There's nobody doing that, and I want to make sure that that's being done. And I'm grateful for our corrections officers and other folks who are filling in that duty because it's important. Our senators, both Carla May and Steve Roberts, in addition to our state reps, have been instrumental in getting those fundings packages done. Both Senator May and Steve Roberts have truly been phenomenal partners in making sure we got the FEMA application and then we got the funding, along with Representative Kimberly Collins and the other representatives of the district. Truly, truly phenomenal. Did you need it? Not family. Yeah, they have been. I mean, truly, the fact that the money that we got from the state, to give you some perspective, Joplin got 32 million. We got 100. Okay, the folks that represent you at the state level have been phenomenal. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, you want me to switch sides?
Hi, my name's Yolanda, and I have a bit of a different spin on it, or take. We all were affected by the tornado in North City in different ways. God bless people who lost their homes. God bless people, especially the people that we lost. But from my perspective, I want to say thank you, Mayor. From my perspective, now this is my perspective, and I'm not taking away from anybody else's. Thank you, Alderman Laura Keys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Governor and Congressman Wesley Bell and everybody else who helped to get the FEMA sign for us. I'm with the Penrose Neighborhood Organization, and a lot of people have come to us for help. We were boots on the ground like everybody else, but I'm just hoping that we come away from this meeting with a renewed spirit. We work together as a team, and we continue this. We have never had a lot of these things. All this money that's coming up, we appreciate that money. We just have to help each other to learn how to apply for it, and keep working together. The one question I have for you is, and I hope you can work with us. I'm asking that you please consider some type of community engagement forum, committee, so we can tell you what we need. Instead of just, like, I know you have a phenomenal staff, but we need to tell you what we need, and we need some of us on this committee to say, hey, Mayor, this is what we need. We're out here talking to our citizens. So I'd appreciate it if you would consider that and just keep my name in your pocket. Whomever is on the committee, I'm fine with it. But we need a committee for our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've been. I think that's a phenomenal idea, and one that we've been talking about, and we will implement. Your name is on the list. Julian has now met you, and I think your willingness, anyone's willingness to serve in that capacity, is appreciated. We know that is an ask, and we also know that's a gift, and we're grateful for folks that are willing to do that. People keep asking, what is the plan? We don't have the plan. The plan doesn't exist yet. We need to build it together. And that does start with community, and it does start with folks who are willing and able to give that time to help us drive that. Thank you.
Okay, my name is D.L. Davis. My question is for FEMA. I once lived in the 4100 block of Lee, and my home was totally destroyed. The whole roof was taken off. I lost everything I owned. FEMA came out. They did the inspection. The lady asked me questions. She took pictures or whatnot. And they extended $7,000 to me. And the value of my home and the contents of my home way exceeds $7,000. What was the formula to come up with a price to give each tenant for their property and for their losses? And how do I reapply to, get close to what I lost?
And thank you for the question.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who know, just to let the room know, I met this.
Andre?
Move away from the speaker.
That's beautiful.
It was wide. Oh, you got you.
Hello? Everybody hear me? Great. I met this gentleman on the way in, and we had a conversation. And the conversation went like this. He told me that he had applied for FEMA. He has a registration number. And I told him, I want you to, if it's late, you need to come back and talk to us at one of those disaster recovery centers that the mayor's talking about, in those locations nearest to him, and that Go back there. We got a person live that is going to talk about his case in private because every case is different. Every case is different. But I want you to know we're trying to get you the max that FEMA can give you. But listening to the mayor talking about the programs, that's what's going to make you whole. Work and yourself and what we do. What I would tell you, what our program is a part of this, And when you go back and go to that disaster recovery center, I'm sorry to take you back there. But if you need something tonight, I do have someone with this shirt on with FEMA that could talk to you tonight. And so someone will grab you and make sure that they talk with the guy with the red hat with the St. Louis on his helmet. And we will talk to you tonight.
Hey, I'm free.
Yes, sir.
And I need to make a correction. Thank you, Rasmus, for pointing this out. When I said if you get denied to reapply, we need you to appeal rather than apply again. So put in an appeal, and Mr. Nunn and the FEMA staff can help do that. But it's important. We know a lot of folks get denied the first time. That is very common. It just means try again. Okay, it means there is something missing. We know it's frustrating, but there is funds out there. I know it is frustrating. We don't get to control that process, but I'm here to encourage you. And if it is really frustrating and you need our assistance beyond FEMA, but FEMA can help you appeal to make sure that we are putting the best foot forward to get individual assistance, because we have we're going to be deploying our resources, what we have, but we also know they're limited, and we do need to tap into as much of the federal resources as we possibly can. And
just to add to what the mayor just said, is when you go to one of those centers, or you call that 1-800-621-3362, if you already have a FEMA number, give that right up front as you start that conversation. You're not reapplying. You are making sure that we are listening to you. When you do that, you're not doing that in vain. You're calling us for us to hear your story. You're calling us to make sure that we give you the opportunity to get everything you are eligible for. And that's what my people are trying to do here, working with the city. And so words matter. Words matter. You're not reapplying. You're calling back to check on your application. If you need rental assistance, that you need to get some help because you're out of your home, when you talk to that person in that recovery center, please ask for rental assistance if you need that. And then we can see what you're eligible for. And so I say that with everyone, we understand that when you get those letters, I look at them not as denial letters. Words matter to me. Those are letters for you to read that whole thing. It may be telling you that if you give me this, you're eligible for this, 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 and this. So please read those letters. And if you got a question about those letters, the disaster recovery centers can help you. We got SBA there. We got the city there. The city is leading this, but we're there supporting this. And so please, I know it's frustrating, but we got people there to help you. Thank you. Yes,
What are we on that side? We go, okay.
Hi, I'm Monique Reese. I was wanting to know more about these stickers. I've been working with people about the stickers on their homes. Some of these homes have yellow stickers. They cannot be lived in. No, they can be brought back. However, they have yellow stickers. Yellow sticker don't get you no help. You need a red sticker to get some help. A red sticker will get you the help that you need. That yellow sticker ain't gonna do nothing.
We're not basing any of our aid on the stickers. Can you point me to what maybe the red stickers are providing for folks?
Red sticker will help you get a hotel so you don't have to sleep outside or sleep in a tent.
So this is maybe through the Urban Leagues?
Urban League, Red Cross,
Okay.
Salvation Army. You need a red sticker to get any kind of help with that
On the hotel
Revive
voucher.
STL.
Okay.
That with the $3,000 to help you out, you need a red sticker. They ain't
On the
giving you
Revive,
nothing
okay.
if you got a yellow sticker.
Okay.
That's it, yeah.
Invest STL. Okay, those are some of the programs that are not direct but indirectly fund. Okay. The red stickers, the sticker program was really designed to inform community what was safe and what's not safe. I hear you. It sounds like some of these yellow stickers, there's an appeal process if you want to have your home re-stickered. The problem is with the red stickers that these are very bad. Once you go the other way, designating your home as really badly damaged, the limited hotel resources were designed for folks that houses were unlivable. If you've got a yellow sticker and you believe it needs to be a red sticker, there is a process for reevaluation. It's free. Just go on this stlrecovers.com. You can request a reevaluation. They're usually there within a day or two. If that doesn't happen, let us know and we will help you get reevaluated. Okay.
I did it 3 times.
Oh, you did?
Within the
Okay.
last 3 weeks, no one has come out to
okay.
reevaluate.
We will make sure, we've got our building commissioner here. We'll connect you offline and make sure that you get reevaluated.
Ma'am, we're a little
Yeah.
backed up on reevaluating right now. I had another meeting today to kind of tweak that reevaluation process. We will get out there. If you give me your address before I leave, I'll try to push you up and prioritize them getting out there. You have a yellow sticker right now?
Sure.
They reevaluate that to a red if you're in danger of losing your power. I just want to,
No, they're not taking.
you have power now.
Okay, we're not taking the power off on red stickers anymore. The
Okay.
power's not coming out.
Because
The roof.
Okay.
Ameren said it's not safe to
Okay.
put the power back on there.
Please give me your address and I'll prioritize that, okay?
Okay.
Please do so.
This is our building commissioner, Commissioner Ware. How long is the wait on getting the reevaluations right now?
Right now, it's about 6 to 8 days
Okay.
behind. So we're trying to, I've pulled extra people to jump into that program today. I'm pulling them from another area. So we hope to kind of bring that time
Bring that down.
So,
Okay, if
yes.
we need additional resources to bring that down, if we can do MoSave or something like that, again, I'm happy to help do that. I want to
Okay.
make sure we can get those they were going pretty quickly. If we're getting a lot of requests for the reevaluation, we can step that up.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't realize we had a wait kicking in for that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Antoinette Madison, and I live in the West End neighborhood, which honestly probably wasn't hit quite as badly as many of these people. And for those of you who've lost their homes, I am so sorry, and I'm praying for you every day. But I just want to make sure I understood what you said earlier. Did you say that houses that were vacant and condemned prior to the tornado are going to be demolished?
No.
Okay.
No, I not all of them. The only ones that are up for consideration, we are starting with the LRA properties. Those are properties that are owned by the city. None of the LRA properties were occupied before their tornado, but we're starting with the ones that were also condemned. So those are the properties that we're taking down. The other properties that are deemed really dangerous and a hazard to the surrounding community, we're starting with a few of those that are not city-owned, but they were vacant and condemned before the tornado. Those that are really egregious. Then the ones that have fallen on an adjacent property. But we're not taking down all the vacant and condemned buildings. In fact, that's a huge number. So as we go through this, we're trying to be very judicious and only taking down those that we really need to. And frankly, with the around $10-11 million that we have allocated, that's not nearly enough to take down all the properties that we will need to take down in the long term as a result of the tornado.
Okay. That having been said, I'm really disappointed to hear that, because the property next door to mine, quite honestly, is the only reason I have tornado damage. And I'm having some serious challenges even getting a tarp put on my roof. But more importantly, Shamim Clark Hubbard has been to my home about 4 times in the last 2 years. I've told her about this house. 2/3 of the back wall is gone. Their trees snapped and tore up a lot of stuff in my yard.
Okay.
So
Is it a vacant and condemned
it's
property? Is it
vacant
privately
and
owned?
condemned. It is
Did it fall on
privately
your
owned.
on your home?
The bricks are still falling. I borrowed a friend's hard hat
Okay.
to cut my grass.
Okay, let's connect after this. We will evaluate and see if we can put it in the list of those that are impacting the adjacent property and see if we can consider that for this first wave.
Okay, and I promise only 2 seconds more. Finally, I've been begging the city for 2 years to make the owner or the city cut the grass in the backyard. I have dogs that are being eaten alive, and
Yeah.
because there's so many
From some
mosquitoes, the
mosquitoes.
grass is about half as tall as I am.
Yeah.
And they were over there the other day,
Yeah.
and the guy, I asked him about it, and the guy told me that it was a lot of work, and then he left.
Well, one of the things that we have on our list to consider is a compassionate mowing program, a way in which to try and do additional mowing in the impacted area. We recognize there's a whole lot of additional debris and other things that are making the breeding ground for mosquitoes even more than what it normally would be. So we don't have that confirmed, but it is in our list of next wave programs that we're considering.
Hi, I'm Stephanie White.
Hi, Stephanie. Sometimes it takes a second.
Okay, well, I'm in the O'Fallon Park neighborhood, and the house that I grew up in is a 5-generation house, and the whole roof was taken off. It's a red sticker. No one can live in there. Second floor, everything had to get thrown away, but the alleys just stayed with all types of debris. The trash didn't get emptied. We tried to take the stuff out of the house in order to get it, just throw it away. But we couldn't throw it away because the trash dumpsters are always filled. And then another thing, far as the bricks, is there somewhere that you can purchase bricks, or should I say, are there some bricks that you can get for a little amount of money? Because we're missing three chimneys that have to be rebuilt. And I mean, we were able to salvage a few bricks, but the rest of them were all, they weren't good.
Was your family home lived in at the time of the tornado?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
The brick question. This is the first time I've heard the question about buying them, but it's an important one and one that will become more important. We don't have an answer right now, but I'm hearing you. That's a need that I see exploding in the near future as we need to rebuild walls, etc. We've been trying to put together a brick bank or some way in which residents can salvage bricks that our bricks are some of the best bricks in the nation, and they have tremendous value, and you can't get them anywhere else. And oftentimes our demo contracts in the past have allowed the demo contractors to harvest the bricks and resell them. And it's a way in which we've kept the cost of demolition down, but it's also resulted in many of these bricks getting palleted and shipped off to New Orleans or other cities. We do want to try to keep all of our bricks here. So we are encouraging anybody and everybody who can keep their bricks right now to keep them as we work through how we could possibly brick bank them, et cetera. There are some health issues associated with that. We know bricks that have been involved in a demolition or even a partial collapse are at risk for having some of the asbestos or other potential contaminants. That's a solvable problem, but we need to figure out how to best solve it, especially if we're doing it in a mass situation. We haven't worked that out yet. I don't know the answer about how you buy them at a low cost. I hate saying this, but there are bricks around, so you could potentially talk to some of your neighbors who might have them. But in the meantime, know that we're thinking about it. We want to make sure that we're keeping all of the bricks that we can here. We just don't have that plan fully baked at this time. What was the other question about? Oh, the chart. Can you please apply for that program that I announced that we're going to be doing the stabilization? If you're having a hard time getting the tarps and boards.
I'm not having the button.
And with the tarps.
Okay.
I do have insurance, and that's another question I had, because when I applied for FEMA, they denied me because I have insurance.
Okay. On the alleys, I want to make sure that we get your alley, if you're having a refuse issue and it's not getting taken care of, in our system so we can get your alley cleared out of debris. Okay. In the meantime. And then on the insurance question, that's a question for FEMA. I'll let Mr. Nunn take that.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Hey, spot up there.
Ma'am, thank you. Remember, it's they want you to know, we need to know what your insurance covered because FEMA can't duplicate insurance. However, once you tell us what your insurance covered, we got to look at what we can do beyond your insurance. So you need to go to one of those recovery centers and give me that number, and then we can see what you're eligible for beyond that. Yes, ma'am.
The state, the state has that un- and underinsured program that we should see funds in the next sometime this summer. We also, the state, if your insurance company does come through, has a program because we're in a state declared disaster area. You can apply for a state tax credit for your deductible. Okay, so there is a program because we're in this state declared disaster area. We don't have the application for that yet, but we will soon. And so just know that if you've got insurance and you have a deductible, that's usually a big number. So you should go ahead and apply for that state deductible program. Switching sides, right? No, that is a state program. The deductible program is a state program.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you for what you're doing. Your heart seems to be in the right place. I'd like to ask permission. Can I speak candidly?
Yes.
Okay. The tornado is not the problem here. The problem is the tornado has opened up old wounds. Okay. And that wound is a racial divide. The black and white discourse that's needed. There's not one single white person in this room who would trade to be black and be treated like black people are treated in this country, in this state, in this city. Okay, so we can no longer be naive to what is going on. So with that being said, we asking questions, but you're either part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Constructive or deconstructive. Okay, what I would like to suggest is this. There has to be a short-term, long-term solutions. People are living in tents. Okay, Farragut, Beaumont, these buildings could be turned into emergency shelters with sub-police stations there, 24-hour security. Just a thought.
Good.
Okay, another one is that vouchers, just not for hotels, but for residential residents in these areas. There's a lot of landlords with duplexes and whatnot that you can put these people in. Another thing is a special tax, maybe a gasoline tax, a special sales tax to raise money. Okay, we need to get the private sector involved.
Before you go through all your suggestions, let me start with a couple of them.
Okay, no, I'm going to be finishing out your way in a minute. Okay.
But I'm going to have a hard time remembering them all.
Well, they're here, and in Jefferson City,
yes,
a disaster bill.
Yes.
Maybe the private sector.
Yes.
The richest black man in America headquarters is here in St. Louis.
Yes.
Wide World Technology. Dave Stewart,
Yes.
worth $8 billion. We want to check.
Yes. Okay.
St. Louis Cardinals, we want to check. McDonnell Douglas, Anheuser-Busch. We're tired of people collecting public money, giving it to us, and taking credit for it.
Yeah. Let me speak on a few of those. So I'm not going to forget them all. There is a racial divide. And I'm a white lady. I'm going to be your mayor for 3 years and 10 months. And I am going to do the best job I can. And all I can do is ask you to let me do the best job I can. And I'm just going to do the best job I can do.
We should all feel insulted. There was over $1 billion worth of damage, and they haven't given you $200 million.
Well, we're going to get there. We are just starting. Okay. On the hotel vouchers, there are some, but there is rental assistance. FEMA will give you a deposit and 2 months rent and some stipend for, furniture and things like that.
Okay.
It's not, I know it's not enough, but it is something.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it can help you get settled. On the
Yep.
state you said go get the state. The state has been it put together a disaster package that was 100 million, 25 million. On the private sector, I'm calling everybody, okay? The electrical program, that's got no tax dollars going into it. That was me calling the CEO of Guarantee Electric. The guy picked up the phone. He said, I'm there. They're putting $100,000 in. They got their buddies over at Saks to do the same. That is total private sector money. These are electrical contractors that make money in our communities, and they are giving back. When you saw them big trucks coming down with when the big debris removal was really moving, that was because you had Albarisi, Clayco, McCarthy, all these big guys coming out here. They didn't get everything. I know that, but they did get a ton. So we are making those calls. I'm meeting with the McDonald Foundation next week. I got meetings with, I'm calling Dave Stewart, all these folks. We are making those calls. I know Anheuser-Busch put together $100,000 for restaurants in the affected area, and they gave out those checks just last week. They helped 46 restaurants in the tornado zone with real money to try to get repairs done to the restaurants and bars in the community. So there's some. I know it's not enough, but we are calling all those. If you got David Stewart's number, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, I called his people. Okay, they call me back, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Stewart. I'm going to tell him you want $8 million. I'm going to ask him. I really am serious
we
though,
want a check.
because I hear you.
We
I
want a
hear you,
$1 billion check.
and we are
He's worth
we are
$8
working on it.
billion.
I hear you, and you're right. You're right.
So I mean, he's going to
You're
die
right.
with it.
You're right. Okay, what else we got?
Well, I'm saying.
Oh, the
lady-
taxes, the gas tax and stuff like that. You know, this gets into the weeds a little bit, but we are a creature of the state. We can only tax what the state allows us to tax. I know that's crazy, but truly the state's authorized to be a state by the federal government, and we are authorized to be a city by the state of Missouri. And we are only authorized to do so many taxing initiatives, and that's under state law. What we can do for tax abatements, what we can do for your housing, all these taxes are really prescribed by the state. So we have some handcuffs in that regard, but we are exploring all options. Okay.
And to close,
Okay.
the young lady said a think tank. I think that you should put one together because there's a four-step process to solving the problem. And the first one is admitting that there's a problem.
Yes.
And if you're going home to a nice warm bed in Creve Coeur, your problem is not in your heart.
Yes.
We need people who are being immediately affected by it.
Well,
and thank you.
I don't live in Creve Coeur. I live in Marine Villa, but and I'm trying to keep my bed cool these days. But you're right.
Okay, my name is Jeanette Robinson. I live at 4774 Leduc. And every house, I think, on my street was damaged by the tornado. So I was blessed to be able to still stay in my house because the tornado tore out all of my windows upstairs in the back. It hit me from the back, tore down my sun porch, tore down the windows in my bedroom, trashed my air conditioners. But first, I want to thank our alderwoman, Sharon Tyers. She was the first one on the scene. I haven't seen anyone else from the city. They did say the building inspector came by and stood in the street and looked. He never got out of the car. Now, the problem is I live next door to an LRA house. And for 10 years, I've been trying to get it torn down. So the tree next to that house fell on the back of it. And that, yes. And it's knocking bricks against my house. In fact, bricks are almost to the second floor.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, not only that, the backyard has trees. They started off as little shrubberies. And they would come out and whack a few weeds in the front, never go in the back.
Okay.
So it has broken down my fence. Trees have fell on it. I called what is it, Citizen Service Bureau. They said they are aware of it. They never did nothing.
Was this before the tornado?
Yes,
Okay.
before. Now, afterward, I called again.
Uh-huh.
So someone from LRA did come out. And she said first, I don't know if I should go in the back. It may not be safe. I said, well, what do you think about me living here?
Yeah.
But she did go in the back, and she said when they tear it down, she will make that a priority.
Okay.
But daily, bricks are piling up on my house.
Can we get the address and your
It's
contact?
for
Okay.
4800
Will you,
Leduc.
will you make sure I get
Yes,
it and your
okay.
phone number?
And not only that, the tree that fell, it has other limbs that are going to fall. And I don't know what direction is going in. Also from this tree, the wind was so powerful from the tornado until limbs lodged itself in my second floor. My second floor is vinyl.
Hmm.
And the limbs went through the second floor into the bedroom. So we were able to cut the limbs out of the bedroom. Some of the limbs are still in the wall. So,
In the wall?
yes, in the wall. They're hanging on the side of the house.
Let's see about getting you applied for that stabilization funding to get those limbs out.
Yeah, so you would need a real tall ladder.
Okay.
It's
And then
not.
I would like to get your contact information
Mhm.
and the LRA property. We'll see if that can qualify for that first wave.
Yes, because all during the day you can hear bricks falling.
Okay.
And dust, no matter how I dust. I have the windows boarded up. No one came out to board up the windows or give me plastic. All of my help came from the volunteers, different church organizations. And I think Billy Graham's outreach ministry came and looked at my backyard, and he said, I'll clear that for you. I think every tree on the block fell in my yard. You couldn't see the alley. And they worked in the rain. And he had this little tractor, and he would pick up the limbs and take it and put it on the edge of the yard. And that stack was really almost as tall as my house. And I had another tree that's about 100 years old. My house is about 100, maybe 98. And the original owner planted it when they moved in the house or built the house. And this tree, it uprooted it. The root of it was humongous. The storm uprooted it and laid it on the side of my house. If that tree had fell on my house, I wouldn't be here today, neither would there be a house. But meanwhile, this 4800 next to me, the limbs are still falling, and they're on the house. And if it's a high wind, I'm afraid some more limbs gonna fall. And really, all the damage came from the tree, except the wind. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. But I do want to thank all of the volunteers that helped me. They came from everywhere. I didn't have to call them, and they worked in the rain. What was left of the tree, I was even to sell it because it was a walnut tree. So,
Great for.
yeah, the man came from Sullivan. No, I didn't.
How much did he buy?
He came from Sullivan, Missouri, and cut it up and took it away. So
I need that man. Where's that man? I got a lot of trees. That's
So,
wonderful.
I am thankful for the help
Okay.
that I got, and
Yeah.
now I got bugs,
Okay.
flies.
Hey, we'll get your number here.
So,
Jonathan Strong will get your contact information. We'll make sure we see about getting that property on the
Yeah,
list.
so Brett, he's raised. his
Oh,
hand
Brett.
right now.
Okay.
If
Thank you,
give
Brett.
him a number, then we'll make sure that somebody contacts you tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right.
Must be the
Hi. It you take about a second sometimes.
Hello, 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 hello,
Sometimes you gotta talk low.
hello. Oh, you can hear me now? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Shirley Pruitt, and forgive my tardiness, but when I came in, Mayor, you were speaking to some partners, to your partners with who was helping you to figure out how you would distribute the funds that you all have allotted for the tornado. Do you recall?
When I was up here,
Yes, and you were speaking to partners, the folks that I think you said regional or global partners or something like that, that were going to help you to determine how you would spend the funding that was allotted for the tornadoes.
we have several pots of funds. I'm sorry, I'm not sure where you came in, but maybe if you have if I can help I can answer.
Okay, well, let's just start with the RAMS funds.
Okay. Okay, so the RAMS funds, as I talked about on the front end, we've the Board of Aldermen has allocated, and we have approved the $30 million as a starting point. These are public funds, so they go through public processes, but we are fast lighting 3 buckets of funding. The first being some humanitarian aid to help folks stay cool this summer. We're trying to get that fast track so we know people don't, even if we have more people experiencing homelessness or staying in tents, housing don't have roofs. There's a whole host of reasons why people need access to cooling things. So we're trying to fast track that. We're trying to fast track supporting some of the organizations and the nonprofits that have been on the ground. And thirdly, some staffing funds so we can have some direct outreach so we can inform folks when those funding, the state funds and other funds become available. And then I did mention the long-term strategy would be trying to get those funds into some home repair funds, those direct to resident home repairs funds. These are programs that have to be, gone through a legal process. So we're trying to work through that, but we want to fast track those first sets of funds so we can get them out the door.
Okay. A priority of the cooling, what does that look like if you're talking about people in tents and things like that? So how would you get cooling mechanisms and things like that to those people?
So we're trying to we're going to be prioritizing making sure access to cool spaces, cooling buses and that sort of thing, sprinklers, ice distribution, water distribution, things of that nature, so we can make sure that you have access to ways in which to cool down during the summer. It's not perfect. We know that, but those are the mechanisms that we're trying to fast track on the front end of this.
So are you guys considering using some of the school fronts and things like that you all do have readily available to initiate these cooling systems or
the school funds?
Mm-hmm. Just abandoned schools. You have
Abandoned
a lot
schools.
of
We've been the school buildings are actually owned by St. Louis Public Schools. We have been able to partner with them on a few things. Like Sumner, for example, is a location for our disaster recovery center. That's a hub of information that we've got there. We are looking at specific locations to be cooling places, whether I don't know that they're going to be schools or not, but they are going to be within the tornado zone. The school idea is a good one. We've found St. Louis Public to be a really good partner. They were really workable where they could be. I know they have a lot of programs in the existing schools. Some of the schools that are not open do have building code violations and other things that'll be a hurdle to getting them up and running immediately.
Okay, and then the last thing I'd like to speak to is the community involvement in building back these communities and things like that. I know that I had a sister out here that mentioned creating council. Yes, thank you. Creating a council that included residents, right? So when you speak to that, how does that look? What is that going to look like? Because we have the aldermen in the ward, so you already have people in the ward that is established, as far as leadership, the alder people. So how do you plan to use them in order to help you or help the city create this council of people that can have input on how you build back their community?
I think that really, having these town halls is very helpful. First of all, the alderpersons of these two districts, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Tyus, have been incredible partners in making sure we get the Rams funds and some of the other things moving right along. So they will absolutely be instrumental in developing that. We don't have that process outlined today. We're looking on building that. I think sharing your input with us and with your alderpersons is going to be key to making sure that as we set those tables, that they're in a way that really does represent community well, provides paths, time with that, what looks like time of day, location, and things like that, that really are able to provide ways in which community can be engaged. We are also, and the long-term rebuild, we kind of, where's the guy that said the short term and the long term? That's exactly how we're thinking about this. Some short-term intermediate solutions and then the long rebuild. The long rebuild, we were just meeting with our planning department today. Our planning director, Don Rowe, is here. The city was actually embarking, before I was elected mayor, on a planning process that really focused on community-led planning in the neighborhoods north of Delmar. That is sort of serendipitous and really dovetails into the long-term rebuilding plan. So the community engagement, the community plan, the neighborhood planning was already scheduled. We are embracing that, trying to speed up the initiation process in the academy in some of the neighborhoods that haven't started yet. But that is really what's going to help drive the long-term rebuild process. The intermediary process, where we are right now, we're taking input here. There have been ideas at each one of these town halls that we hadn't thought about, how to buy brick, how to do some of these other things. But setting the table in the intermediary, I welcome your ideas. I know the alderperson says they'll be an active part of it. And I hope everybody here, anybody who has the capacity to be a part of that process would. Okay.
Hi, Kara. My name is Janelle Best, and I just want to start with saying I'm a regular person. I'm not here with any organization, but I have been boots on the ground since May 17th, helping people on the Duck and Fountain Park there. They're mostly older. I've raised over $30,000 for them. I've been housing people, tarping roofs, put them in hotels. I've bought phones, just you name it, I've done it. I've recruited hundreds of volunteers, and my question is, I'm happy that you have all of these resources here, but you have to apply for them. I'm working with elderly people who don't have internet. They don't have phones. I bought them. They don't know how to use them. How are they supposed to get these resources? This is great, but y'all need to do more. And with the Rams money, where do you all plan to start? How do you choose where to start? I work in Ladue and Clayton, and I saw how quickly you all moved out there on Lindell. You had the city workers out there tearing down trees, clearing the roads. I've been in Fountain Park and the Duck back and forth every single day since May 17th, and I've hardly seen anybody. And I want you to know I am physically and emotionally tired, and I'm also afraid to take a step back because I'm afraid you all won't step up.
I can feel your pain, and I'm thank you for the work that you're doing. As far as where we're going to start, the Rams funds, as I mentioned, the immediate humanitarian, we know we need more boots on the ground on part of the city. That's where that hiring piece is a critical piece of getting some of those funds moving right off the bat. We know that we have a lot of residents that don't have access to internet. That's why we're standing up those 3 spots within community. If there's ways in which we can help get folks applied to FEMA initially, FEMA was going to go door to door with us as far as getting the word out. We know that the regulations FEMA has changed while they were here, and that is no longer possible. So we are trying to pivot and make that door to door something we are able to do so we can have more boots on the ground. The city wasn't equipped to do that kind of outreach. We are working on trying to build that apparatus up. In the meantime, if we can equip you and others with any information that you can make the work that you're doing easier and better, we want to do that. When there's gaps missing, let us know. I hear you on this gap. and we are going to work to try to get more boots on the ground. That's where the immediate deployment of RAMS funds is going to come in to try to get some of that hiring done.
How do you choose where you spend the funds? How do you choose where you start?
The starting point on the initial tranche, this is why getting those funds out the door immediately is so hard. I'm asking that we are working with the partners who are working with those 3 DRCs as a first wave. Then we will be doing some public engagement, the RFP process, to make sure that we're opening it broader than those folks that have already been officially engaged. So the initial tranche will just be some sort of immediate relief, and then opening it up to make sure that we have a process for more organizations or individuals to be a part of it. That'll be through a public process. Yeah.
Excuse me here. I want to say something about the help, helping us. We know where to start, what to do. See television, make sure it's good. If people understand mean to her, us around, mistreatment, wants to fight, even smell like that's us. Not thank you, Janelle, for stepping by. Janelle. Correct.
Hello, Miss Janelle. I've also been working with coordinating like our community organizations that are out here boots on the ground. So please, before you leave, see me so I can help you get into that coordination and just let you know the bigger picture of the work that that we're doing. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. I attended a meeting at the Child and Family Empowerment Center. Wasn't allowed to ask questions at that time for some reason, but I did have an important question because I heard President Megan Green, Board President Megan Green, say that 30 million, part of that was going to go to organizations that were out here doing the work. And she made the statement, and we know who those are. We're going to prioritize it, and we know who those are. But I beg to differ because we've been out there every single day. And what we did, we tried to fill a gap. Because there are people out like me that are out there that had some injuries and what have you. We can't get to those centers. So we've been going house to house, door to door, giving wound care, giving food, giving supplies, giving people resources. We've been taking phone calls, letting them know what's in the community. And in addition to that, we serve people who are unhoused. Because nobody's thinking about them. They lost everything. We've been giving them tents. We've been giving them food. We've been giving them, again, wound care. We've been bandaging people, all of this. And yet you say that you're going to prioritize it and give it to those folks who have marketing staff and whose executive director isn't out there doing the work like I am. We need the funds too, to continue the work that we're doing. In addition to that, I got one more thing. We provide summer camp for kids. The 2 days after the tornado, there was a siren that went off. These kids started screaming. They were shaking. They were crying. Am I going to die? Is my mom going to die? Is my house going to be blown down? We had to console them, we'd get them quiet, and then the siren would go off again and they would panic. We do trauma-informed care for children. Nobody's thinking about the emotional health of folks out here. This was traumatic. This was traumatic. This was horrible, for all of us. And somebody needs to be thinking about that part of it too. It's not just the physical, it's the emotional. And we're seeing this bringing up old wounds and it's created new wounds. So there needs to be something within that fund that addresses those needs as well. My name is Maggie Howard Bryant, and I'm with Communities First. We've been in the community since 2012. We provide rental and utility assistance. Urban League often refers to us when they run out of money. They're referring people to us, but yet they get, and I'm not knocking Urban League because they do good work, Yep, they do really good work. And Diamond Divas and whomever else is on the top of the priority list. But they referred to us. When we were out there doing the work, we went to their centers and picked up things and went out and distributed those things, as well as things that came from our own donor base. And we have many, many volunteers that are helping us. So I just want to say, what are you going to do for us? These organizations that are really out here doing all of this work, working hard, our passion is in it, our money, personal funds are in it, and we need some help too.
Okay, I hear you. And I think, thank you. Thank you for the work that you've been doing. I can't begin to know all the organizations that have been out here. There have been several that have had their name mentioned. The big ones, as you mentioned, Urban League is one of those, but there are so many organizations. The initial set of funding, which will just be for a week or two, are just to get our community partners that are with our DRCs. We'll be trying to do something along those lines. But we are planning on opening it up for other organizations to step up, to show that they are doing, to be present and get some of the funding that we're going to be distributing. So please make sure that we're all connected. And as we figure out that next wave, there'll be an open process for it. Okay, thank you. As far as the kids are concerned, you're so right. On behalf of the siren issue, it was a huge issue. We wanted to make sure that we recognized they didn't work. The siren process was broken, and we had to fix it.
Well, like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This other banking and consider all of this props, and thoughts. People want results, and we're not providing anything that's tangible. Planning over a period of time is not helping anybody in this room who does not have a home.
That's right.
And you're not doing that. You are the mayor of the city. You have the authority to call your staff and anybody else that you need to get together. This was a disaster. And people died as a result of the fault of this city under your leadership. You can't keep walking down to us like this. This is unacceptable. Totally and completely unacceptable. That's not true. The people need money. They need tangible resources and a plan that is solid and concrete. If you can't do it, you let the people deploy and let them do it. You told them not to deploy. When the tornado happened, there's backgrounds of that, and let the people do it.
When the tornado hit, when the tornado hit, we did ask people, as I mentioned on the front end, that first 24 hours, we had entire blocks, neighborhoods that had downed electrical wires covering our roads. It was so wildly dangerous. We had gawkers, people coming from Creve Coeur, South County, Ladue, coming to gawk at the tornado damage. They were clogging up our roads. Our first responders were not able to get into households. I called for two things: people to stay off their cell phones, so we could clear up that cell phone. There was cell phone towers that were down, and I did ask people to stay home that initial night. It was the right decision at that time because we had to get first responders through our community, and we had downed electrical wires. Beyond that day, community did self-deploy, and they were the boots on the ground, and it was an incredible asset. But I am also grateful that we were able to get the gawkers who are clogging up our roads out of our community. It was important to do, and it was a choice that we had to make. Thank you. On the money, I know it's not fast enough. We are trying to prioritize the funding specifically to rehab houses. Some of the process here, we knew we needed to get FEMA in. These are the big federal funds. FEMA will not deploy funds for programs that we have on the ground. In other words, if we are doing deposits and first month's rent, FEMA is not going to deploy those. We could not jeopardize any program that we knew FEMA had the capacity to do by putting in our own limited capacity programs in place. It's been a very tough balancing act, and it took FEMA 4 weeks. It took us four to 5 weeks to get that declaration and get them embedded. But we did not want to jeopardize what they were going to be able to do for us by starting our limited run programs here. The same way we do not want to duplicate what the state can do. We are really, really trying to balance that. And we know it is hard to wait. And we know that the pain is immeasurable. And we are trying to do the best we can to distribute the resources we can. I can only say, I know how, I can only imagine. Lord, we are here and I'm hearing you, and we will, and my staff is here, our staff is here. And that's why these town halls are so important, to hear how we can do better. Okay. Are we on this side? Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Demetrius Muhammad. And when I came in, I heard you speaking earlier. You wanted to make sure that we kept St. Louis City residents in the city. I am concerned about that also. My neighborhood was hit pretty hard. A lot of destruction. I guess my concerns with this, in trying to rebuild the neighborhoods, it's going to take money. And we have banks that have, typically undervalued the properties in North St. Louis. So in order to get loans for those who are able to, take out a loan, who would want to take out a loan to try to improve their properties, can we look at the banks and ask them to, do something about their standards as far as, loaning money? And also, one of the things in talking with people, been finding a lot with the insurance companies. Once again, undervaluing, lowballing people on their things. So these are just some of the institutions that can help in the rebuilding process that are really becoming obstacles. And it seems like their main job is to frustrate. So, I've been dealing with it, and, it's just one of those things. And I just on another note, on the back of the flyers that you guys have has Ask an Architect. I'm one of those persons who's going to be volunteering. I have another person over here, Evan, part of the AIA. I'm president of the National Organization of Minority Architects. So we will be in assistance to everyone here to help you professionally to get your homes rebuilt, and even talk about those stickers that you're getting on your homes. But
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your service. That is a really important amenity, something that I think folks are really going to be able to benefit from. The architects that are donating their time, it's a big lift. Thank you. Let me talk about the banks, lending, et cetera. The banks are regulated by the national standards. Unfortunately, we can't have city standards involved, but what we can do, we have deposits. The bank does, okay? The city does. And so we can apply pressure to the banks that we bank with, that we trust, that get our deposits, to try and make sure that we have a priority to lending out here. We also have the SBA here, the Small Business Administration. While their name is a bit of a misnomer, the vast majority of work they do is lending in communities to individuals after disasters. Under the disaster designation, they can lend in ways with extremely low interest rates. The interest rate is locked in at the time of our disaster. So even though interest rates have climbed up a little bit since then, our interest rate is a little over 2%. 2%. That is a great loan rate. And it also is something that's available to folks that have compromise or have some, there's flexibility on the credit ratings. This is specific to the national designation of our disaster. And so if you can borrow money or want to for your business or your home, the SBA is a phenomenal partner in being able to do that. And what was the last one? Lending, loans, insurance. Yes. you know, the insurance industry is regulated at the state and federal level. While I'm on a different political party than Senator Josh Hawley, he has been pretty gung-ho on holding the insurance companies accountable. I know his office is taking complaints. They're taking it seriously. He has got a national agenda of holding insurance companies accountable. So please let his office know. Feel free to let our office know as well. But that is one area in which we really overlap in values with our senator, and he's willing to help on that front. Okay. Hi, Gwen. Gwen.
Keep talking.
It'll pop in. Gwen.
Yeah, my name is Gwen Hudgens, and I'm at 3010 North Newstead. My house was flattened totally. I was throughout the house, me and my son. I have gotten no help from the city. No officials have came and helped me do anything. I have requested help. It's been churches that came and said that they would help me get my stuff up, move the stuff up. They said the city said we couldn't do it. So right now I'm in a U-Haul sitting in front of my property to keep it from people from stealing what I got. I'm sitting up there. They say the city can't go on private property. I look across the street, there's an 18-wheeler that's been tilted over, trees over and everything. I see 3 city trucks. I see a bulldozer picking up his stuff, loading it onto the truck. Not only did they load his stuff up to the truck, they took this bulldozer and sit his 18-wheeler up. Now this is just a lot. But I asked for a dumpster and they refused to give me a dumpster, saying the city can't go on private property. So another thing I want to say too, if they can't go on private property, how did these stickers get on these buildings? Didn't they go up there and put the stickers on the building on private property? You know what I'm saying? So like I say, it's and the churches, all the churches say, well, we got the backhoe and everything to lift the stuff up for you to try to. I didn't get nothing out of my house, nothing. My cars was damaged, everything. I lost everything. Had the alarm rung, I at least could have got some of my money out, got my key. I didn't get anything. So I feel like the city is responsible for a lot of this here. And I'm not getting no answers from them. I made the front page of the Post-Dispatch, and I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna stay here until I get answers. This is what I'm sitting in a pile of rubble. This expensive. I'm breathing every day. We stand in a tent. They want to give me a room, but they only want to give me a room for me. I got a son and 2 dogs. I'm not gonna leave them out there. Now it's trash on my front. They say bring what you can and sit it on the front. I call the Citizen Service Bureau. They say put your stuff on the front. It's been sitting out there for maybe a week. Yeah. My back, I can't get through the back because the trash ain't coming through. Now it's rats and roaches, rodents. They done tore in my tent, but this is where I'm at. So after I called yesterday and made the complaint, I talked to the neighborhood stabilization lady, Barb, I forget her last name, Barb Potts. So when I told her about the situation, what I seen, she said, oh, you at 3010 Newstead? I said, yeah, I'm at 3010 Newstead. She said, oh, well, the reason they're not doing anything to your property because they're going to rebuild. You got to save your bricks. I say, oh, so when was they going to tell me that they was going to rebuild? Because I called y'all on this bull crap and telling you what I seen and what I videoed, then you're going to tell me that. I'm going to see if I could get a dumpster in front of your house. So this morning before 8 o'clock, I got action. Oh, the city came up on my property, moved this here, but city can't go on private property. So which is it? I mean, who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to pay? Because somebody is getting paid. Something ain't right. And then if we got these here funds, take the funds and pay outside people to come and help me clean up this here stuff. I've been sitting out here. I've been sitting out here every day since this storm. No, the city ain't did nothing, ain't rolled past, ain't lied to me, ain't did nothing. And I'm still out there. But I'm documenting everything. And as it stands, the city don't have to talk to me, but they gonna talk to somebody. Yeah. They gonna talk to somebody. You know, when I lost everything, I lost my livelihood, my mental, all of that.
I know exactly
everything.
Where you are. I know the U-Haul and I know the 18-wheeler. I can't speak to why those city workers did that. Yeah. But the city's here now. At least I'm here. We're hearing you. All of our department heads, and we will take your name and number. Jonathan's got it, and we'll do what we can.
And can I say this?
Yes.
To me, this is just a stall tactic. I've been hearing it. We're gonna do this. This is a stall tactic. For how the first y'all was talking FEMA. FEMA's here. I'm waiting. Now the city, y'all got the funds right there. Issue them out and start getting this. I'm breathing this stuff every day. I might not even see this here. You know what I'm saying? I'm mad. I am.
Have you applied for FEMA?
I'm waiting. Yeah,
You're
I
waiting.
did.
Okay.
But it's the city. What is the city gonna do? Y'all got the funds.
Okay.
Put the people out here and help me clean up my property. You know what I'm saying? I got 5 properties right there, and I'm not leaving. They want me to leave. I'm not gonna leave.
Don't leave.
I'm not gonna leave.
I think you're study to know who it is. That's where you're down right.
No, GWD. No.
All right, right then. Give me a note.
Okay.
Look.
It's a lot. It's a lot with her and we'll get her information.
And that's forward on.
Yeah.
First, I want to applaud the mayor for everything she's done in her group and her committee so far. She is doing an awesome job, I believe. I've seen on Facebook, YouTube and stuff, and her job is not easy. Let's keep her up before the Lord. I want to address 4204. My question is really towards FEMA. I was hoping while I'm here, I can get you to look at my online screen here. I have gotten some assistance, address 4204 West Lexington. And I had an issue with uploading some of the documents. So I went to Unity Tabernacle, and they said that they told me they uploaded it. When I went logging on the screen, I didn't see what they said they uploaded. So I was hoping while I'm here that we can look it over and make sure and see what all of this need to do to resume the application. That's all.
Yes, sir. I have someone in the back there. They raise their hands. They'll take you right back there so you see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I need to see her. Go ahead. There, sorry. Pick your stuff.
And hey, we do recognize that we're a little over kind of with the Boys and Girls Club space. We're going to go for a few more minutes, so try to make questions quick because we do want to be mindful that they've already extended the time for us to be here a little bit while longer taking questions.
Gotcha. Yeah. Got this one, right? The ball, baby.
Yep.
Hey, Rick. You know what that's here. Keep on.
Hey, my name is Frederick Goodgame, and I just want to say that I don't think the alarms is the mayor's fault. That should have been handled 10 years ago. I don't think that should be an issue now. Okay, the next thing I want to ask is, do y'all have a fund for disasters? Do you have a fund?
Like in the city? Did we
Yeah, in
have
the city.
did we have one before this?
Mm-hmm.
The city did not have a city fund for disasters. After the flooding that took place in 2021, there was a bit of a disaster fund set up at the Community Foundation, but that wasn't a city, we don't have a city fund. And our emergency management funding, the office had 4 to 5 people in it. It was not adequately staffed. We recognize that now. Typically speaking, a disaster isn't really run by the mayor's staff. It's run by emergency management professionals. But we didn't have enough staff there. So we tried to fill in, and we were a new staff. Julian's been with the city for 2 months now. He's doing a fabulous job. We had some existing staff members from the previous administration, like Jonathan Strong and Rasmus, and we're filling in where we really need to have a more robust emergency management system, and we will moving forward once we get through this. But we didn't have that.
Okay, now I would say, why don't you start a disaster fund like raising the taxes of 0.5%? The money it's not going to fall from the sky. The money's got to come from somewhere, and it's got to come from the citizens. Yeah. They can sit around and talk, oh, I ain't got this, I ain't doing this. They're going to have to come up with some tax money, and it's going to have to be done. And you only use for disaster.
You're not
wrong. It won't work.
And this is a question, especially when the federal government is pulling back or disaster funding.
Right.
As we know, the number of disasters nationally has been skyrocketing as weather events are going haywire. Okay, typically going 10 years ago, there would only be about 6-7 national disasters a year. Now we're up to about 20 nationwide a year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big increase. And the federal government's going, well, this is costing us a lot of money. Let's put the burden on states and cities. Well, we aren't equipped for that. And you're right. If we're going to be equipped for that, we're going to have to raise some taxes and have a designated fund.
Wouldn't be
My
bad.
take is on it, national disasters to be handled by the national government. And that's what we saw with Joplin and other national disasters. But if it's going to shift to us, we're going to have to be prepared. You're spot on.
Because it's going to happen again.
You're spot on.
5 to 10 or 15
spot on.
years.
You're spot on.
And the other thing, one more other thing, and I'm done. Can you get the street lines painted at least twice a year?
Street lines.
Yeah, the street.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna work on the street lines. Oh my God. I'm gonna make sure we got streets. Okay. Yes. Yes. We got.
Let's go. Right, illustrator.
Hello, Mayor. My name is Leonetta Nelson. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for the opportunity. It's a two-part question for me. I am a proud contractor within the city of St. Louis. I have done all of the licensing and things that is needed. I'm an MBE and WBE certified, Section 3 HUD certified contractor within our zone. With saying all of that is to say the outside entities of other companies coming in, it becomes very insulting for us because you ask us to have these requirements, but yet and still RFPs are being sent to individuals that understand it a lot better and then have the means to do so. And then I become the secondary contractor. And then on the other,
on what piece is that?
So the RFP. So some of them, like, okay, so you have primary, and then you have the contractor. Then we have to have 100% material costs for that.
Is that for the building stabilization piece? That
Yes.
RFP? Okay.
Yes. So we can talk further about that when we get finished. But on the other part where I took my own funds and my own money to help assist some residents who did unfortunately receive funding, and I have had to do my own personal investigation. I know we always talked about residents being taken advantage of. Contractors are now being taken advantage of because some of these individuals are receiving funding from their insurance companies, are not paying contractors. I have my contracts and I have the email sent from the insurance company where the individuals have been paid out and have not paid contractors. And I am one. I am a victim of this now by 2 individuals. So I'm saying that not only do that, we need to have a way that we protect our contractors that really take pride in doing the work here and are flexible and transparent, but yet and still be able to build us up within the capacity so we can help move this community forward with the right integrity.
Okay. Can we have, and so the contractor issue, the second issue is not one I think we can easily address, the insurance issue, but we can address the first issue, which is making sure that our contractor, particularly our minority and St. Louis-based contractor community, has access to the RFPs we're putting out.
Yes.
So I need to
And
better
understanding
and
it as
understand
well.
it. Okay. I need to better understand what the hurdles are there. Okay. So I think we know each other, but can we have some offline conversations? I don't
Absolutely.
understand what those hurdles are, but we need to we can work on fixing those barriers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, there's a 2-week deadline.
Yeah.
Of RFPs are typically about best practice 30 days.
Yes, you're right. So let me talk about that issue. We're going to have some rolling RFPs. We shortened some of the front end so we can start getting the money out sooner and the work done sooner. We knew that was a balance on the, making those 2-week.
And I would love to be honestly your first millionaire contractor to help build this community, buy the funds from the city.
So that first wave is just a wave, right? So as we move through this, we can improve the process, okay, especially on the long-term rebuild. So connect with us. We will address some of those issues, or we'll try to do that. I know we had some other members of the Black contractor community that were in this room. That was part of, that is a priority for us. Okay.
Do
what?
Let one more question to see what
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Nolan.
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me? Testing, test. Testing, testing. Hi, my name is Gloria Nolan. I am a resident of the 11th Ward. I live in the 4100 block of Sacramento. I want to first publicly thank my Alderwoman Laura Keys for all of her diligence and all of her work, and our State Rep Kimberly Ann Collins. I was able to call these two to help tarp roofs, board up houses, and everything else. Anything in between. They were right on time, and I appreciate everything that you all did. My house was severely damaged. The roof blew off, and I thought that was it until the rain came. And so my house is now a petri dish. It is so full of every kind of mold you would ever imagine in all colors. My home, my family, we live in a duplex. We own the duplex, and we have tenants on the other side. And so I noticed that there's a lot of resources and things coming up for people who are homeowners, who may be uninsured and things like that. And I see a gap where landlords are being left out of the conversation. That is a gap because my husband and I, we're not real estate moguls. We have one unit, and it is providing a home to a family, and we treat them like family, and we want to get the property restored. And it's going to take all resources and everything that we can get our hands on to bring it back full scale. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention, and I wanted to see if there were any thoughts of like those landlords that maybe have 1 to 3 properties. There are families who own homes and they're renting it to family members, friends. And if we want to bring the city back, we're going to have to open it up a little bit more to include some of those lower landlords. Not for the landlord that lives in Kentucky and owns 50 buildings, but some of the people that are trying to invest in this community and are here for this community. So that's one thing I wanted to ask about. And then the other thing was, I heard you loud and clear on the areas that the RAMS funds will be deployed for: the staying cool, the nonprofits, the staffing, and then eventually to those homeowners and people trying to restore the properties. What do you have concrete number amounts? How are those funds being divided? There's $30 million up front. Like, what dollar amounts are going into those buckets? Could you share some of that with us?
Thank you. On the dollar bucket, first of all, on the front end, elevating the landlord issue. Thank you. You're not the first, but elevating that issue is super helpful as we work that out. We do know that's an issue, and you're right. The balance between having the local landlord, especially excluding the folks that are living in Kentucky that have been predatory for some time now. So finding that balance is important. Thank you. On the second piece, on the buckets, on the RAMS funds, we don't have it all squared away yet. Our initial tranche, we're trying to balance getting funds out quickly. That issue of the 2-week RFP versus the longer period, we know that that's a balance. So we're trying to do some on the short end that compromises the process and save more for the long end that has a longer, more robust process. We're targeting like less than $5 million on the front end so that the majority can go into a longer piece. We do not want the longer piece to be a year from now. We're trying to develop the process to get those out quickly as well so we can have some of those home repair. I really appreciate the concept of saying, well, what if we took a landlord that owned a small number of properties and start there? And that's an area where we're trying to lean into. Yeah. And
thank you for
can't
everything
imagine-
you've done.
yeah,
I see you.
Thank you.
I do. I see you. And the community sees you too. So I want you to know that. And so don't feel, I want you to be encouraged. That's what I wanted to say. I want you to be encouraged.
I have to say, it's been so hard to be. I also know it's not enough. We know that. We know that. We know that. It's been very humbling. We have a lot of staff here who have been working really hard too. And we also know I've been pushing them. We've been pushing each other. We know it's not enough.
But you're trying.
We are trying and we will continue to try. And it's a balance and we're going to get some things wrong and they're not going to be balanced right. We know that. That's these being here, being present, telling us your personal stories, sharing with us what you need. It is shaping how we're able to move forward in a better way, in the best way we can.
At least it's help.
Thank you.
Exactly. You showing up. Showing up.
We'll always show up.
Always figure it out.
Yep. It's only about 5'1", but it's high. It's what I do. So this is for. I get this hair going higher. Okay.
All right, Mayor, I want to thank you for the 25% that the insurance company was giving and for your executive order. Thank you so much for that, because we know a lot of renters in a situation where they're coming out a little bit better than homeowners. But my concern that I have right now is that are the LRA buildings insured by any chance? Are they insured, or the insurance company paying to knock those buildings down?
No, the LRA properties are not insured, but we are using some latent ARPA funds that went through the state of Missouri into a nonprofit specifically for demoing LRA properties. And we are targeting those funds through the tornado zone. And there are some significant millions in that pot that we are targeting and we're going to be deploying. We've also got some MSD funds, and there are some other pots of money specifically for demo that we believe can target that first tranche I talked about earlier tonight.
Okay, and my last question here is for those owners whose homes was destroyed and that was underinsured, and then the insurance company paid just a little for those owners.
Yes.
Now, will they be responsible for actually removing their houses, or will the city front that cost?
We're exploring trying to do some of that compassionate demolition. That's some of the piece I talked about earlier. We recognize that, if you're underinsured, the cost to demolish a property that's been leveled is still considerable, especially when you have to take into consideration the environmental protections that we are going to be requiring, take place.
Sure.
Wetting properties as they come down. These are important measures, and they are frankly expensive measures in making sure that we're not putting asbestos and lead and other things into the community. So this is an expensive even though your house may be falling down, it is still expensive to finish out the demo. We want to make sure that we are able to do that process with the support of FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers. So that plan is still in development. It's not fully fleshed out, but we are working on it, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll have a plan for that.
Yes.
Okay. EPA, we're following EPA. We've also got the Missouri Department of Natural Resources embedded in our planning. We've also, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Garza, who's with SSM. He was the guy who really led the recommendations through COVID. You probably remember his name through that. We brought him back into the fold to help guide us and really advise us through what we need to be doing. We've got air quality monitors in the community, so we're watching the particulate matter. These are especially dangerous in the hot air months when the air holds moisture, it holds particulate matter. So we recognize that that's adding to the concerns. Okay.
Just recognizing time, we do unfortunately have to close out Q&A here. Mayor Spencer and some of our staff will be out here, but we want a chance to officially kind of close down the room so that the Boys and Girls Club can
get just one more. She's been here the longest, and then I will. Let her go. Then I will take everybody as much. I'm sorry, but if they don't close it out,
Go. 3.2 ounce to step up. I'm at the beat. Yeah, Eric's going to step up.
We can.
My name is Maureen, and I work for the African People's Education Defense Fund, which is a Black working class community-based organization. You've been to the center. Yes. And the organization has been on the ground, boots on the ground, doing stuff, giving away food, giving away meals, trying to, answer some of the same questions here. And I hear you talking about this money going out to the nonprofits, but there has been no RFP as of now. And my concern is that it actually do go to the people that need it for their houses, you know, as opposed to staff for people. That's one of the problems about putting the money through the nonprofits. And I say that as somebody who works in a nonprofit. It's got to go to the people. And I just think that there are solutions that a lot of people in this room have put forward. I just want to salute the communities of North St. Louis. And, you know, for you to say you're trying to keep your bed cool or that you want to make it okay to stay in a tent, that just deepens what the person said earlier about the racial divide. As a white person, I want to see the North Side stay Black, and I want to see people be able to live here. Like people said, 5 generations of people live in it, yes. And for you to say you need to get Miss Gwen's phone number, like she said, she was on the front page of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch weeks ago. You haven't been down on the ground. You have not. It's not about you. You can't stand up here and cry. You got to have solutions for people. People got to lead. There's $285 million in the ARPA money that hasn't been spent yet. Yes, it's been allocated, but it has not been spent. Reallocate it like you did the stabilization money. There's all the RAMS money, not just the interest, there's all the RAMS money. Those two things together are $500 million. You can solve the problems.
Let me talk just a little bit about the ARPA funds. Under federal guidelines, it is really important that we don't skirt any federal guidelines. They will be clawed back. All those funds have been allocated. We're being very cautious and careful about how we are describing and how we are administering because we don't want those funds to be clawed back. We are targeting and we are shifting what we can. That is where the stabilization funds, the $5.6 million that we're deploying, we have some other demo funds, and we are working through the legalities of deploying any additional funds. Most of those funds, those millions, those 280 that you talked about, were allocated to paving streets and things of that nature that we are going to have that would be next to impossible to reallocate. That being said, there are funds.
There are
the $30 million. We are trying to get these out, and I hear you. And I
just want to say you allocated money to the LRA to tear down buildings that should have already been torn down. I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You had a building that you didn't take care of. You didn't cut your grass. Yes, on air.
I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you, John.
Thank you. I'll follow.
Yeah. All right. And then did you?
We did.
I'm following orders here.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay. Okay. We're good.
Yes. So thank you all so much.
I'm pleased.